I dropped my coat. Oh dear.
Fearless.
So since we're going to show a stand-on on the hillside, I thought we'd just do a little explanation
Okay.
first, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, we're going to do a little demonstration today of the comparison of a stand-on mower to a regular sit-down zero-turn mower on a slope. Okay, so we're mowing ditches today. We figured it'd be a good chance to show the difference. We've noticed the difference with the stand-on and how well it holds a hillside. Besides just going up and down hills, it's a lot better as well. But you know, mowing across hillsides, the stand-on mowers tend to hold ground a little better than sit-down zero turns. Those of you who've ran sit-down zero turns on hillsides or ditches, you know how they like to kind of go sideways or crab walk down the ditch. I will say this particular one here, this mower does hold ditches pretty good, but it's not like a stand-on. The mowers we're using here today is our Z950M John Deere and a John Deere Quik Trak 661R. Now, what we're going to demonstrate isn't specific to the John Deere stand-on. It really applies to all stand-ons. It's one of the reasons why we got a stand-on. But guys talk about that being an advantage to just almost any brand of stand-on, its ability to hold hillsides. The other thing too I wanted to talk about real quick was, since we're talking about advantages of stand-ons, is why you buy a stand-on. And a year ago we decided that we wanted to add a stand-on to our business. Jacob was really the one pushing for it. I think it was from watching videos and seeing equipment that other guys use. There are a lot of advantages to them, and what we found when we were initially looking was we found different advantages than what was being advertised. So I thought I'd go over that a little bit. One of the advertised advantages that we found right up front was they advertised that the length of a stand-on mower is a lot shorter than the length of a sit-down zero turn. And obviously you can see here, the sit-down zero turn is quite a bit longer. And some stand-ons have flip-up platforms. The stand platform on the back flips up and makes them shorter and things like that. So there's varying widths, but in general, the length of a stand-on mower is shorter than a zero turn by a pretty fair amount. And so the advantage is that you can fit more stand-on mowers on your trailer than you can sit-down zero turns. That is true, but for us, it really didn't matter. I mean, it's not like it's going to make or break what we do. So yes, it's an advantage, but we found out that that's really not the reason to buy one. The other advantages were that they did advertise it holds hillsides better. But one other one too, and it really doesn't apply to this one, but the ones with the flip-up platforms in the back were advertised that way so that you could flip the platform up and use it as a walk-behind. And it almost appeared when we were looking at those types of stand-ons that what the designer was trying to do was trying to design kind of a multi-purpose machine into a mower that you could use as a walk-behind, and you could also use as a zero turn, stand on it and use it as a zero turn and ride. Kind of taking the place of a sulky on a walk-behind maybe. What we found through demonstration was that when we demoed the ones with the platform off the back, they were a lot less comfortable, a lot harder to maneuver than the type of stand-ons that have the fixed platform in between the wheels. And this year at GIE, we saw a lot of manufacturers moving to this type of design. Manufacturers that had been in the rear platform design. I think Skag is one of them. If I remember right, Exmark. They're all moving towards, on their new designs, fixed platforms more up in between the wheels. And we have found that definitely that is an advantage over the ones that have the platform around the back. And what happens is as you're turning on these, your feet are more in line with the wheels. So when you turn, your body is at the pivot point. Whereas if the platform's off the back, it's swinging you around off the back. And in demos, Jacob actually got knocked off twice when he was demoing the stand-on with the platform out the back, just from turning. And so we found that to be a better design. Other advantages over a sit-down. Stand-ons in general don't go as fast. So like your typical sit-down is 10, 12 mile an hour, some of them faster. Your stand-ons, 9 mile an hour, those kind of things. So not drastically different, but you can tell running it that your sit-down in a straight line, you're going faster. These typically don't go that fast, but they tend to cover more ground in the same amount of time that the sit-down does, just because of maneuverability. Your ability to go around obstacles quicker, make your turns at the end of your pass quicker, just results in at least covering the ground at least as fast, and what we found, probably a little bit faster than the sit-down. The other thing is comfort, and this was Jacob's big push to go to a stand-on. He wanted the stand-on for himself to operate, and it was all based on comfort. And two things around comfort. One, those of you who ran sit-down zero turns a lot know that they ride rough. I mean, they're just buckboards, and you get on rough ground, and about an hour and a half of it, you're done. You've just had enough. The suspension seats now make it a lot better, and as a matter of fact, this one here, the 950, we bought specifically with this Comfort Glide seat, and we got some reviews on that system. Much better, but still not quite as comfortable as standing. And these platforms, almost all of them that we've been on, these platforms have some kind of suspension to them. There's different designs to them, but they're all not hard bolted on. They all have some kind of suspension on them. But just the fact that you're standing and not sitting, and your legs are absorbing a lot of the shock. When you go over rough ground, it's just a lot easier on your body when you're standing. And you can rest yourself with your knees up against this pad, and you can even lean all the way forward if you want, but typically what we're doing is just kind of putting our knees into it and rest a little bit. You can rest your legs, but in general, your body absorbs the shock a lot better combined with this platform, and it's just more comfortable. The other thing too is when it's hot, 90 degrees in the middle of summer, you're sitting on this seat, you're sitting in your sweat. I mean, just call it what it is. And on the stand-on, you're not. You've got airflow around you, and you're a lot cooler than sitting on that seat all day. Now, I will say that one of the drawbacks I've noticed to the stand-on is your arms and shoulders and hands, to some extent, do get fatigued if you are running continuous for long periods of time. So if you're on the stand-on for, say, hour and a half continuous, you do start to get a little sore in the shoulders from working and gripping with your hands. If you don't have a little break about every hour or so, so if you're mowing lawns where you're half an hour to an hour and then you're going to another lawn, you got a little break, that's fine. In our business, we tend to mow larger properties, so we're mowing for you know, hour and a half or more, sometimes at a time, most of the time. So when you do that continuous, you do get a little fatigued, but it's not a huge deal, and you can deal with it. So in general, the stand-on tends to be more comfortable. So you might say, okay, why do you have a sit-down then? Why don't you have two stand-ons if the stand-on has that many more advantages over the sit-down? Well, that was kind of a debate when we talked about upgrading from our Z950M sit-down zero-turn that we had. There was a question: do we get another stand-on or stay with a sit-down? And even with the 915, as uncomfortable as it was, and it was fairly uncomfortable, now that we've got this one, we realize how uncomfortable it was. There were still situations, there were still properties that we preferred to sit down. And it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You kind of have to be there to see it. You kind of have to do it to experience it. But like I say, in general, it's those long periods of time, larger properties where you don't have a lot of obstacles, and you've got a lot of acreage to mow, call it 2 acres plus, and you're mowing for an hour, 2 hours at a time. Myself, I prefer the sit down. I will choose this mower first. If we're mowing the lawn here at home, it's 5 acres around here. We showed one of our other videos. I'll take this mower every day, just because over the length of time, it's not as fatiguing. And if you don't have really rough ground or big hillsides you got to do, I'll go to this mower. And that being said, we'll choose this mower. We'll choose the stand-on mower on properties where we have large slopes. And we do. We have several properties in a subdivision that has large slopes in the back. And we don't even try running the sit-down mower on those slopes because it's futile. You're going to skid all the way down the hill. It's just not going to do it. This mower will hold it, and it will, and not just hillside, but up and down. Those of you who've had a sit-down on a hill going down it, and when you get going and it starts skidding, you know that there's no stopping it. It's going to stop when it hits something or you get to the bottom of the hill. And it's exactly what this thing will do. It'll just skate right down that hill. The stand-on, at least this one, the John Deere Quik Trak, we haven't run any others on these properties, but as far as this one goes, it will stick that slope, no problem. So that is another, advantage, I guess you call it, but it's a place where you need it. And so what we've determined was that we kind of have the perfect setup here for what we're doing. And it could be a good setup for a lot of you out there. A stand-on and a sit-down zero-turn. And if you notice both these, we got a 60-inch, 61-inch. They're both 60-inch class mowers. Big mowers. We're mowing fairly large properties, acre and a half, 2 acres plus. But we found that, we can deal with these 60-inch decks, no problem. We don't have any issues getting in and out of places, getting around stuff, like you would think. We thought that might be a problem. We debated 48-inch, 52-inch, or 61. And when it came down to it, we decided, hey, let's just do the 61. We demoed a 52, we demoed a 48, where there weren't any 61s to demo, but when it came time to buy, we decided that 61 was the way to go, and I don't think we made a mistake at all. It's definitely worked out great. So don't hesitate to look at a wider deck, especially in the stand-on mower. The deck is much more maneuverable. You can wiggle in and around stuff, so you can probably get by with a little wider deck than you think on a stand-on than you can with a sit-down. So just a little comparison there of the two and what experience that we've had with them. They're a good set for what we're doing right now. These are our two main machines that we mow everything with, What we're going to do now is we're going to go over to, we're mowing some ditches today, and we've got some pretty good slopes. So we're going to side hill, and we'll show a demonstration of how the stand-on side hills compared to the sit-down. What we'll do is we're going to first show the Quik Trak on this ditch over here. We'll show it going into this hillside and see if we can get a good shot of how well it holds the slope. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate how the Z-Trak holds the hillside. And we're going to put our roll bar up for safety. Get the pins out here. So, okay, you can see there how when I went into that ditch, how the sit-down zero turn tried to slide down the ditch, and you have to compensate with your sticks and kind of wiggle it and keep it going in a straight line and keep it from sliding all the way down that ditch. If that grass was wet, there's no way I could even held just that. It would have just slid all the way to the bottom of the ditch. As you saw, the Quik Trak, the stand-on, it did slide just a little bit, but it's controllable, and it doesn't go sideways like the sit-down does. It's a pretty good slope there. I'm not sure what angle we're talking, but it's a pretty good one. But hopefully we demonstrated how well the stand-on holds the hillside better than the sit-down.
Oh.